This video will contain a ratio analysis of Biglari compared to its main competitors, McDonald's, Wendy's, and Restaurant Brands International, which for henceforth will be known as Burger King. An analysis of Biglari's leverage, activity, profitability, and liquidity ratios certainly tell a story. For leverage, debt to equity is found by dividing total debt by total equity. Biglari's debt to equity at 43.07 is only about a third of the next company up, which is McDonald's at 125. Burger King and Wendy's have higher ratios still at 754 and 430 respectively. Similarly, Biglari has a debt to capital ratio that is half the size of its competitors. The debt to capital ratio is calculated by dividing total debt by total capital. Wendy's is the next closest with 81, Burger King with 88, and McDonald's with a ratio of 94. Compare that with Biglari's debt to capital ratio of just 30. These ratios show that compared to the rest of the industry, Biglari has significantly lower levels of debt. This can actually be seen as reasonable because debt does in fact make bad times worse, but good times better. So while Biglari's competitors may be doing better, Biglari's struggling position means that it is better that the company has lower levels of debt until they are able to bounce back. For liquidity ratios, Biglari does fall lower for both the current and quick ratios. The current ratio is found by dividing current assets by current liabilities. Biglari has a current ratio of 0.91, compared to its competitors Burger King with a ratio of 1.07, McDonald's with 1.36, and Wendy's with 2.34. The quick ratio shows the same trends and is found by dividing the current assets, except for inventory, by the current liabilities. Wendy's has a quick ratio of 2.33, McDonald's has a ratio of 1.11, and Burger King has a ratio of just over 1. These numbers do differ slightly from Biglari's, which dips below 1 at 0.85. These ratios show that liquidity could be an issue for Biglari, but they are not too far different from the rest of the quick service restaurant industry. For activity ratios, Biglari comes across much stronger than the others in the industry. The main ratio that we looked at was the receivables turnover. The receivables turnover is a measure of how effectively and efficiently a company extends and collects credit or its accounts receivables. The receivables turnover is found by dividing total credit sales by average accounts receivables. Biglari shows strength here because its turnover ratio of 50.58 is miles above the others in the industry. Compare that with Wendy's turnover ratio of 14.18, which is actually the next closest. Even lower comes Burger King at 11.68 and McDonald's at 8.6. This shows that Biglari has a much better time collecting what people owe them. However, when we think of quick service restaurants, we don't really think about customers owing them money or having a line of credit. Biglari and Steak 'n Shake likely work mostly on a cash basis. Even with that said, this also means that when people use credit cards, Steak 'n Shake does a much better job at collecting the money compared to their competitors. The only thing here is that this is something that we hope they put a lot of focus into and not just a reflection of their lowering foot traffic. Lastly, for the ratio analysis, we evaluated the companies based off their profitability ratios. This likely brought up some of the numbers that really show Biglari and Steak 'n Shake's issues. The ratios that illustrated the problems best come across in the gross margin and the return on assets. The gross margin is found by subtracting cost of goods sold from revenue and then dividing that number by revenue. Burger King and McDonald's both had fairly higher gross margins, with 57.83 and 51.3, respectively. Wendy's comes across much lower at just under 30, but still, Biglari comes so much lower at not even 16. Turning towards return on assets, this ratio is determined by taking net income and dividing it by total assets. Biglari has a very low ratio. These show the probability that Steak 'n Shake needs a lot of assets to do the same or less amount of business as some of their other competitors.